Hey guys, this is E10 Sun from SunBros. Today I'm really excited to be bringing you guys this brand new video, but before we get started with that, I want to make sure I remind you guys on how to get entered in for a chance to win our guaranteed skin giveaways that we do every Sunday night during our 1-hour question and answer live stream. All you gotta do is make sure you're subscribed to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and comment below with your in-game name and which skin you'd like to receive on either the NA or EU servers under 700 vouchers. And remember, the more videos that you do this with that are uploaded each week, the higher chance you have to win. Alright guys, let's go ahead and get started with this Natalya how to build video. I've been really excited about this one because I've gotten a lot of requests for them. As most of you guys know who are normal to the channel, to the streams, you guys know that I think Natalya is one of the stronger mages in the game right now, and she is vastly underplayed. So I really wanted to get a good build out there so you guys could see how to best take advantage of Natalya's incredible skills. And that's what we're going to do today. And as always, we're going to be starting in the hero page so we can take a look at Natalya's abilities and kind of show you guys what she's all about, what makes her tick, and what her strengths and weaknesses are so we can best figure out how to build her. Alright, Natalya's passive is Arcane Fire. Abilities deal additional damage to enemies and can be stacked up to 10 times within a short time. First ability, Arcane Spirits. Natalya fires 5 Arcane Spirits towards the target area. Each spirit deals magic damage to enemies within. When an enemy is hit by multiple spirits, each additional spirit only deals 30% damage. Spirits stop traveling when they hit an enemy hero. Second ability is Arcane Nova. Real quick, our first ability has a 6-second cooldown, static throughout all 6 levels. Second ability is Arcane Nova. Natalya casts an arcane orb towards a specified direction. When the orb touches an enemy hero, or reaches the end of its path, it becomes an Arcane Nova and stuns enemies hit for 1 second. When the orb grows in size and flies, slowly, dealing magic damage each time it comes into contact with an enemy, and reducing their movement speed of 50% for 1.5 seconds. So the cooldown starts at 10, and then it goes down pretty slowly until 8 seconds at level 6. Then we have her ultimate, Lethal Raise. Natalya frees herself from all crowd control effects. So she removes all crowd control effects of all kind, and she can do it while she's stunned and all that stuff. And commands Poison Fang to release Lethal Raise, dealing match damage every quarter second, 0.25 seconds to enemies. And while channeling, Natalya gains a shield that absorbs a bunch of magic damage, and Natalya is immune to crowd control effects while the shield lasts. This ability must be channeled and has a maximum duration of 3.5 seconds. Channeling can be canceled after 1 second by using the ability again. So the ability is cancelable. A couple of things to note here. The cooldown is 30 at level 1. It goes down to 22 at level 3. So with some cooldown reduction, you can actually get that pretty low. And then the base damage goes up to 180 at level 3, and the shield goes up to 800 at level 3, obviously, and they all scale with ability power. All right. So now we take a look at what Natalya is able to do, what are some of her strengths and weaknesses are. Let's go ahead and go to the equipment page and figure out the best way to build her. Obviously, Natalya is a mage. She's a long range, heavy burst mage with some decent crowd control. Arcane Nova is one of the better crowd control abilities in the game when you learn how to use it. So we're going to be building her totally burst damage. She's going to be played mid lane only. That's kind of her one and only spot that she's going to get played. Alright, so first things first, let's go to the magic page. This item is an absolute must on Natalya. I think it is super key to her kit in a bunch of different ways, and that is Orb of Magi. We're going to start off with 140 ability power, which is solid to start with the first item. 10% cooldown speed, super important to build CDR on Natalya's. Cooldown reduction is really important to her kit. So as we talked about, the ult gets down to 22 seconds, the second ability gets down to 8, and the first ability is 6 seconds static. So cooldown reduction is gonna, everything, her abilities are everything to her. So being able to cast those frequently is super important. So the cooldown reduction is awesome. The unique passive gains 12 ability power and 110 HP every 30 seconds, stacks up to 10 times. So it takes 5 minutes to build up all 10 stacks. You're going to get 120 more ability power, giving it 260, making it the second highest ability power item in the game. And then you're going to get 1100 health too, which is just awesome. A little bit extra tankiness. So this actually works really good. And then the unique passive from the ashes, when the hero gains a level, she gets 20% of her HP and mana. restored over 3 seconds. So I mean, it's just solid sustain, helps Natalya stay in lane more often. You know, if you're a little bit low on health, you got restore, you got your shield, your health behind your tower coming up. You know, and then you know you're about to level up. You could actually stay in lane and not back. So Orb of the Magi is the perfect first item on Natalya. Nothing else really considered there. Then we're going to be going boots, of course, and normally on most heroes we're going to be able to Gilded Grease because we really want that passive resistance so we can reduce crowd control effects. But Natalya being one of the only heroes in the game who can actually remove crowd control effects from herself, we're actually going to go flashy boots. So rather reducing cooldown reduction or reducing crowd control effects on her by 35%, we're going to allow her to be able to cast her ultimate more often, which removes all crowd control effects and then keeps them off of her for a small amount of time during in which she has that shield up. Okay, so flashy boots are kind of a given. We're obviously going to get the movement speed too, 10% cooldown reduction. That gives us 20%. Awesome, awesome. Then we're going to be going back to the magic section. Now this is an important thing. A lot of people make a pretty simple mistake on Natalya here and build the next big boy boom boom item in the game that's going to give a lot of damage, and I think that's actually a massive mistake, and that item is Boomstick. Boomstick is a vastly overrated item in this game, and I'll tell you why. The 240 ability power is actually really solid, but the passive is just super overrated. It deals 50 damage plus 50% ability power. It is not as much as you think. If it had a 2-second cooldown, I'd go, yeah, Boomstick is sick. But a 5-second cooldown is a long time. And a hero like Natalya, who essentially has a wombo combo where she will cast, you know, her second ability, Arcane Nova for the stun, the first ability, the ultimate, I mean, as fast as she can click those bad boys, whether it's 1v1 or in a team fight situation, she has the same kind of wombo combo. And so in that combination, Boomstick is only going to go off one time. Now, obviously, if you're in a laning situation, you're poking, you know, Boomstick could go off more often, but it's a third item, so you're likely going to be mostly done laning by the time that you can afford Boomstick and going to be doing a lot more of other things. I just don't see the value in Boomstick on her or on most mages. I think, like, again, it's a very highly overrated item. Even at late game, when you're fully built on Boomstick, the damage that Boomstick is actually going to provide to you is, you know, somewhere in the 500 to 1,000 damage range every 5 seconds. It's just not that much. Some other passes in the game will give you a lot more damage or a lot more utility simply by being there. So what we're actually going to end up going on her is Hecate's Diadem. It had a bit early possibly to be building Hecate's Diadem, but I really just love it on her at this point. Not only do you get the 200 ability power, which is only 40 shy of Boomstick, you also get the plus 35%, which is going to be building off of the 260 that we have on Orb of the Magi at this point, where we're kind of fully built out, or at least close to fully building that out. 35% on that, of course, is going to be a solid amount. Let's see. It's going to be 78 plus 5% of 260. So it's actually going to be 91 extra attack damage. So you can see the passive from Hecate's Diadem giving you 91 of additional ability power. Actually, in reality, is going to be worth more than what you get from the damage of Boomstick. And you also get the 75 magic pierce. So you're without a doubt going to be able to get more damage from Hecate's Diadem as an item than Boomstick. And I know that we're not comparing Hecate's and Boomstick because there's other options that you could be getting. You could also get Hecate's after Boomstick, but at this point in the game, Hecate's is a really good option. And it gives her, at this moment in the game, with 3 items, which should be fairly early in the game, not too late. You should just kind of be ending laning phase at this point. It gives her a really strong punch and damage at this point, which is exactly what we're looking for. We want to make sure that we can maintain Natalya's damage throughout the game instead of having big roller coasters of, oh, when I get this item, I'm gonna spike up in damage really crazily. You know, we're not looking for that. We're looking to maintain a good balance of damage throughout the game so that Natalya doesn't have really high peaks and really low valleys. So this is where we're at with the items. Next, we're going to stay in the magic section the entire time. Next, we're going to be going for an item that I think is amazing on her, and that's Staff of Null. Natalya is trying to burst you down, to melt you She's trying to melt face as fast as possible, and Staff of Null is a huge deal to that. Now, when you have the combination of a Kate's Diadem with a 75 Magic Pierce, and then Staff of Null with a 40% Magic Pierce, you're just ready to melt everyone. You're going to be doing a lot more magic damage. Any magic resistance that anyone has naturally, or that they are building up through items, is just negated. And everyone's going to have a baseline because they're going to be having, you know, most people are going to be building Gilded Greaves. You're just negating all that, and then you're just melting people. And the 180 ability power is not too shabby. The 10% cooldown reduction is not bad. That gives us 30% with only 4 items, which is really solid. But Staff of Null, just a massive increase in the damage potential. A lot of people right now are building defensive items like Medallion of Troy is just wildly popular on almost everyone. It's insane how much Medallion of Troy is getting built. Gaia Standard is a very popular item. Yoga's Edge is a pretty popular item, and all these items have magic defense enough to where building Staff of Null is worth it. Okay, so we have 30% cooldown reduction. We got a pretty solid amount of ability power so far, a very good amount of ability power so far, and we have a good amount of magic pierce, 40% plus 75. So we're really starting to just we're carrying over the damage that we're already doing. And we're just continuing that balanced high damage approach with Natalya. So then we're going to be going a slightly different approach. Now we're not dipping in damage, I'd say, but we're headed to a point where team fighting is going to become a real thing. Getting jumped in the backline is becoming a real thing, and sustainability, being able to sustain that high damage that we have, is important. So we're going to head that route, and we're going to be building Rhea's Blessing, and I'll tell you why. 140 ability power isn't exactly what you want or think about building on Natalya when you're like, oh man, I want to do as much damage as humanly possible. But it's good for multiple reasons, and I'll tell you the first being we get the 10% cooldown reduction. We get to kind of just cap that off at 40%. We're good to go. 140 ability power, gonna help. It's not max amount. It's nothing like you know what I mean? Frosty's is 140, even that. Brarish is 140. Those are the lowest items in the game. You obviously have Soaring Aura, it's also 140. So the ones that have real high tanky additional stuff, just like this one, are 140. So it's really baseline with the other quote-unquote tanky mage items. Now, Apocalypse gonna have 200, Zweiheim's gonna have 180, and then you're gonna have a Boomstick obviously with 240. So it's not really on that level of ability power, but it isn't enough less to really be hurtful. So why we take Rhea's Blessing though? I love the passive. I love the passive on her. It has a 75-second cooldown, but when the passive procs, so one of my favorite things to do with Natalya, and one of my favorite things or I guess one of my least favorite things that happens against me when I'm trying to kill a Natalya is somebody will have Rhea's Blessing. I'll jump them with an assassin or a warrior or something like that, and they will. I see Rhea's Blessing proc, and the moment Rhea's Blessing procs, they proc their ultimate. So now, so let's go back and remember what her ultimate does, okay? Her ultimate removes all crowd control effects, and then, you know, she obviously shoots out her laser, but while channeling, she gains a shield. While the shield is up, she's immune to crowd control effects, okay? So what we really want to do to Natalya when we're playing against her is we want to burst the shield down so we can get it off and stun her and knock her out of her ultimate, because her ultimate just melts, right? It's probably one of the highest damage abilities in the game. I would say definitely top tier of highest damage abilities in the game. So what they do is they proc the ultimate as soon as Rhea's Blessing shield pop procs, so that we have to get through Rhea's Blessing shield first, and then we have to get through the shield that she gets with her ultimate, which is just crazy. I mean, she's absorbing so much damage. No crowd control effects can affect her, and she's just sitting there melting people with that ridiculous ultimate. So I love it for that, but as if that wasn't enough, so obviously for Rhea's Blessing to pop, she has to fall below 40% health. So you fall below 40% health, you get the shield, you proc your ultimate, you remove all crowd control effects, boom, you're procking a secondary shield. Natalya then becomes very difficult to kill, and as if that wasn't bad enough, then you're doing the second passive, Magic Lifesteal. You're stealing 25% of the damage you're doing with magic damage, and I promise you, with a properly executed wombo combo on Natalya, you fall below 40%, you proc your wombo combo, you could literally heal yourself up to 100% health while the shield's up, because she does so much damage with her ultimate and with those abilities. You got the double shield. She could literally go from below 40% health to 100% health because of the magic lifesteal. It's absolutely phenomenal. So while some people would look at Rhea's Blessing and say, oh, that doesn't do enough damage, I say it's going to help you overall be a better player, because it's not all about damage. A lot of times you have to think about and be cognitive of what you're doing to stay alive so that you can live another day. We have 40% cooldown reduction. We're not living to do one set of damage with the wombo combo. We're living to be able to do that over and over again, because 40% cooldown reduction. Let's just recap. What does that give us? That 40% cooldown reduction on Arcane Spirits is going to be let's see. That's 2.4 seconds reduced. So our cooldown is going all the way down to 4.8 seconds. No, sorry, 4.6 seconds. So that one's getting really low. This is going from 8 down 3.2 seconds to 4.8 seconds. I mean, dudes, that's crazy. That's a real low cooldown on these items. And then, of course, her ultimate is at 22, and that goes down 8.8 seconds all the way down to 13.2. I mean, we're able to ult every 13.2 seconds, guys. That is phenomenal. So we want to live to be able to continue to ult and do these abilities that we have such low cooldowns for. Okay, now that's 5 items in, and a 6th item, last item in the game that we're building on Natalya is going to be Holy of Holies. You gotta go for the big. So I like to point out that this build, surprisingly, is a little bit tanky on Natalya. Now, it's not like balls to the wall tanky, right? We're not building tank items, or we're not building like Barris Agony or Frosties, but Holy of Holies, 400 ability power. Now you combine that with the passive on the Kate's Diadem, and Holy of Holies is actually going to give you, let's see, 30% of that is 120, 140 extra. So you're talking about 540 ability power on Holy of Holies. That is absolutely nuts. 540 ability power is so much ability power for one item. And if that wasn't enough, you get 1400 health to go along with the 1100 health we have from Orb of Magi. So now we got 2500 health. We have the double shields. So we got some health, we got double shields. We have a ton of magic pierce, right? I mean, and obviously we have insane amount. Let's just count our ability power as a whole. I'm gonna get a calculator for this, because it's worth counting. This is a lot. Let's see what we got here. We get 260 from Orb of the Magi. We're gonna get 200 from Kate's Diadem. Then we're going to get 180 from Staff of Null. Then we're going to get 140 from Rhea's Blessing, and then 400 from Holy of Holies, giving us 1180 times 1.35 for the passive on Kate's Diadem, and we're sitting at 1593, just short of 1600 ability power added on, not including Arcana, which is also going to benefit from Kate's Diadem. So we'll do another workup. We'll add in the Arcana and then build that up in a second. So 1593, just nuts. Okay, so as always, I'm going to give you guys an alternative build for Natalya. Now this is essentially, this is going to be almost identical, but what it is if you have fallen behind and you are struggling to keep up. So the reason why we're not building one of the most common items besides Boomstick that is built on Natalya is Frosty's Revenge, okay? And for good reason. The passive chill abilities that deal damage will also reduce movement speed is really good on Natalya, okay? It keeps people in her ult better, but a good Natalya doesn't need people to stay in her ult because she's already hit them with her second ability, Arcane Nova, and she's got this 1 second stun in the 50% slow. That is enough for a good Natalya to get you down and dead. So Natalya doesn't need for the Frosty slow now, but it is helpful if you're falling behind, because you're going to do less damage because you don't have as much gold or as high level, and you're going to need to keep people in those abilities longer to burst them down. So if we have an alternative build, it's simply this. We're moving, so remember this one, we have Staff of Null 4, Rhea's Blessing 5, and Holy Holy 6. So we're getting rid of Holy Holies, and that'll be an item where we sell boots to get Holy Holies, okay? We're moving Staff of Null to 5, and Rhea's Blessing is 6, and we're getting Frosty's at 4 because we need help keeping people in our abilities longer because we're not doing as much damage because we have less gold and less level. So if you're really falling behind, and I mean really falling behind, if you guys are still pretty close, go with build number 1. But if you're not, go with build number 2 so you can help keep people in your abilities longer in order to make sure that you can burst them down and kill them. Okay, that is build 1 and build 2 for Natalya. We're going to next discuss her Arcana, and to me, that's super simple. There's not a lot of really, options that I'm really heavily considering. So with the first one, we're going to be doing Violate. So some people would say, oh, let's just go Enlighten, 5.3 ability power. But 4.2 is not a whole lot less. I'm talking about 11 total ability power, but you're talking about 24 Magic Pierce. And the reason why the Magic Pierce is important, because remember, Arcana helps late game, but it's made for early game. So now we're going to give her 24 Magic Pierce to start off the game. When we're building an item in Orb of the Magi, that is more for sustainability and more for long-term success than it is early-term success. So if we can help her early game with Arcana, we need to do that. So Violate is our first red Arcana. We're getting 10 of those. Then we're going to be going to purples, and we're going to be getting... I'm actually going to take Devour. 2.4 ability power. So now we've gotten 24 ability power plus the Violate ability power, which is 42. So that's 42 plus 20, what's 24. That gives us 66, and it gives us 10% magic lifesteal. So now we have magic lifesteal early. Remember we talked about how much that 25% magic lifesteal works in her favor when she's got the Rhea's Blessing item. Now we have 35%. Now we're just guaranteed just raking in health when we're doing damage. It's nuts. And then we have 66 ability power, and we have 24 Magic Pierce. Okay, so now we're going to greens, and in greens, there's a lot more options. Now, obviously, a lot of people like to take focus because they need cooldown reduction. Now, both of these builds, or one of these builds has 40% cooldown reduction, the other one has 30, but we're still not going to take focus. We're going to be looking at taking something a little bit better, and that is going to be... We're actually going to be taking Hex. 24 more ability power. Now there's 7% cooldown reduction on this overall. It'll help early game. You could say it's a waste late game. I mean, it doesn't give you anything, but I still think Hex is the best option. We're building ability power, and it's the only item that really gives you a definitive amount of ability power that's worthwhile. So green is just really limited. So we're going to end up going with Hex for the ability power. The cooldown reduction will come in handy until we get that 40%. So it definitely helps for the majority of the game. It just isn't, that cooldown reduction is worth nothing late game. Okay, so we gave ourselves let's see, 66. So now we have 90 more ability power. So we do 90 times 0.35 or 1.35. Let's see here. 90 times 1.35 is 121.5 plus 1593. Now that tops us off, guys, at 1714.5. So we're gonna round up to 1715. So 1,715 ability power is what we get with this build. We get a good amount of health and sustainability. We get, we get 40% cooldown reduction. I mean, the things that you want to tell you, a lot of ability power, check. Cooldown reduction, check. And enough sustainability to be able to continually cast our abilities over and over again, check. This checks all the boxes for what we're trying to do in Natalya to best take advantage of her abilities and best take advantage of what she brings to the table as a high damage mage. And in my opinion, one of the better mages in the game. And as far as talents go, you can go a couple different directions. You could do... Endure is a good one. It just gives you another get out of jail free card. So Endure is going to give you the 1.5, immobilize you, give you 1.5 seconds of just invulnerability. Endure is very useful on really all mages. The only other one I'd really consider doing is Heal. I don't see a need for Flicker, Disrupt, Daze Purify, Roar, or Punish, Execute. I don't see a need for any of those. The two that I see as being helpful on her is Endure and Heal. Heal can get you out of a tough jam. Endure can get you out of a tough jam, and that's really all you need from Natalya. But yeah, those are the two talents that we're looking at. So we're going to recap real quick the build. Orb of the Magi, Flashy Boots, Hecate's Diadem, Staff of Null, Rhea's Blessing, and Holy of Holies, and a secondary ability for falling way behind on gold. You're going to want to switch it up a little bit, and you're going to build Orb of Magi, Flashy Boots, Hecate's Diadem, Frosty's Revenge, Staff of Null, and of course Rhea's Blessing. Alright guys, that is our 2 builds, and of course this is our main build. I have 1000% confidence this build is going to take you guys to the next level on Natalya. It is an absolutely monstrous build, and I'm really excited for you guys to try it out. Leave me comments in the comment section letting me know how much you love this build, how much damage you did on it, and how much better your gameplay was. I always love hearing that. I get comments on all my how to build videos where you guys give me testimonials of how much you like the builds. My favorite thing is when I get people say, hey, I wasn't sure about it, but I tried the build, or I tried the build and I love it. It helped me do X, Y, and Z. I did so much more damage. I was so much more tanky. You know, it made such a big difference in my gameplay with this hero. Thank you so much. My least favorite kind of comments are when people go, this build's trash. And you can tell they never tried it. They never gave it a shot. They just say the build's trash because it's not what they think that people are supposed to do, or not what they see on the suggested or the top most built builds, or whatever stupid reason that they have. They don't even try it and they trash it. So try it out and let me know what you think. So I know you're gonna love it. But that's it for this one, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And as always, till next time.